Hello, this is Gideon Emery, a.k.a. Balthier from Final Fantasy XII, telling you you're listening to the Raw Dogs podcast, which is part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. And from this leading man, may you be the leading man in your own lives. Tune in, enjoy, farewell.
So we're not drinking Carly's seltzers tonight.
No, I
brought more seltzers though.
Yeah, so we're set there.
So we're fine.
We can't drink her Kool-Aids though because
oh yeah, no, don't touch the coolers.
She'll break my Final Fantasy records.
Gotcha.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Raw Dogs. Here we are at number 37. We are your favorite podcast that does deep dives into Final Fantasy VII, specifically, more often than not, it seems.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a fantastic deep dive. So
it's a great topic.
Sometimes it's a bit of a goof around. Sometimes we have a bit of a goof around.
But it's always deep.
It's always very deep and very raw. I am, of course, Brad, the guy who bought like 10 Twix bars in order to get the extra DLC equipment for this game.
I'm Dylan. I played this game much later than most people did. And I'm also going to be the villain of the episode, it seems.
He will be cast as Sephiroth. Mm-hmm. I am Kamari Ranso.
Sephiroth.
And Dylan and I, we did a 3-part series on the original Final Fantasy VII PS1 game back in the day, about a year ago.
It was 8 hours of straight up podcasting.
Yep, we talked about everything. So
sure did.
And then it was after learning all about Before Crisis and Dirge of Cerberus and everything else, we thought it'd be good to come back and talk the remake. We are joined by 2 other regulars. Who do we have here?
This is Nick over here. Very excited to talk about one of my favorite remakes that has come out of this new remake revolution.
Sure.
Honestly, the fact that I've gotten remastered music out of this game is pretty much the front runner of why that happened.
A lot of remastered music. Yes.
Nobuo Uematsu.
Well, he barely did any work for this game, though. Really,
he wrote this music.
Well, he wrote the originals, and then he also
cashed a paycheck.
He showed up and wrote "Hollow," which was the credits song, which represents Cloud's psyche at the end of the game. Otherwise, it was 2 other guys. What were their names? Masahashi Hamatsu and Mitsuto Suzuki. They're like, the great stuff you did. We're just gonna do a lot of fun things with it.
We're gonna do that, but with an orchestra.
20 different ways. Mm-hmm. And Tom, you like music.
Hi, my name is Tom. I think
Are you?
I'm going to be, I think, the rawest dog on this podcast because I played this game exactly almost a year ago. It might be the 1-year anniversary of the release or getting close to it, and haven't
really
played
close.
it since, and haven't really revisited it. And gentlemen, it is an honor to be on the absolute last podcast we ever do on Final Fantasy VII. For this channel.
Well, actually, no.
It's just a complete honor.
That's just a line.
We're doing an integrate.
Thank you for having me here.
We got to do an integrate episode to talk about Deep Ground and Weiss. We will not do an Ever Crisis episode, though. We got to draw the line somewhere.
I think this would be a good end cap to just everything Final Fantasy. And
we'll never have anything more to say about Final Fantasy VII.
Well, and Final Fantasy VII Remake is very much a different game.
It's a sequel.
It's a new battle system. It's a new bit of everything. Tom, you'd mentioned it's about 1 year since it came out. The day this episode releases will be the day before. April 10th, 2020 is when the game originally came out.
I knew that.
Yeah. And this is
head in my head. 410.
Back when we were just young pandemic babies.
Yeah.
When it was in its infancy.
When the walk here was literally barren.
Right.
Yeah, there wasn't even little
there was nothing.
dust blowing in the wind.
This was my first actual true COVID pandemic game. I remember this is the first big release of the pandemic. So
yeah, this was a
at
big
least
one.
that's etched in my brain.
Yeah, they actually, I remember they announced physical copies would be reaching Europe and Australia early due to COVID-19, and I was like, God damn it.
Right.
The
one and only time it paid to live in Australia.
It's like they're going to spoil it for me. This game I played back in 97.
That shit was everywhere. There was like spoiler bombs everywhere.
Yeah, luckily,
I washed my hands of that nonsense. I was like, I'm not looking at the internet for another, I don't know, probably 2-3 weeks. Just done.
It was probably healthy.
It was fantastic. It was a great.
It felt pretty
moment in
good.
my life.
Yeah.
leading into this game, though, the original one came out in 97. People were like using pitchforks and screaming for this game pretty much since then to be remade. Back in 2005 at E3, they released a PS3 tech demo, which just seemed like a real slap in the face to everybody. They're like, look at how cool it looks. Are you going to make it? Well, no.
But it looks really good.
Right.
This is how some things can run on the PS4.
Yeah. There is no world where Square did not use that as a potential barometer to see if they should go forward.
100%.
And something must have happened where they derailed that project.
No, what they saw was how much money they were going to make on it, and they were like, all right, no, we actually have to, do this.
Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier, though, after that PS3 demo. Was it PS3? Did you say
That was a PS3 tech demo,
Okay,
yeah. The remake wasn't announced until 2015. I remember being in one room, and my roommate was upstairs, and he goes, yo, B-Rad, you see this shit? I was like, oh, shit.
Doves! It's fucking birds in the sky!
Oh, my God. It's Cloud, dude. He's got a sword.
Yep.
Because that's how much of a fucking shill I am for this game. I just see a Buster sword and I bust a nut.
Yeah.
To be fair, you're all of us.
Dylan.
Except for me. I said,
not a fan of the Buster Sword?
I like the Buster Sword fine. I think big anime boys with weapons are fucking fantastic. But I don't know. I was immediately just like, all right, so they just ran out of new ideas.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I've seen some people making the arguments like Square hasn't really made a good game in a while.
No, they haven't.
And Kingdom Hearts 3 had moments I enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed a lot of it, but I wasn't in love with it, and I didn't care for 15, didn't finish that, never played the online ones, and I remember disliking 13 quite a bit, so it had been a while for me.
For me, 13 really lost me. I did not enjoy 13's battle mechanics and just the storytelling in general, honestly.
Yeah, that's bad.
Garbage.
Yeah.
I still have dreams of murdering Hope in his sleep.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yep. Nope. I am
Dude,
right there with
moms
you.
are tough.
But I always say I will defend the battle system in 13 until my death. That was probably relative to everything else in that game was the shutting spot for me.
Until you get to Pulse or whatever, the battle system is pretty straightforward, and then once you can kind of look around and do stuff, that's when it kind of clicked in for me, and I'm like, oh, paradigms, cool, I'm fine.
Okay, so then I just didn't play the game long enough because I checked out.
It gets better after 60 hours, man. You just
I
gotta stick
know
with it.
that is not a good argument for anything in the game.
I remember being turned off by that game about the hallways, and
Yeah, that's all it was.
sadly on my third playthrough of FF7 Remake, which I just finished today.
Jesus. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I did one normal and then I did one hard, and then I wanted to do one
that's just right.
just to focus on all the big
for
story
funsies.
beats and try and pick up this last playthrough. I'm I want to get every bar and food and drink mentioned, just 'cause I thought it'd be fun. But yeah, Carly's like, oh,
This one again.
this I know this song. Carly knows all the music to this game at this point.
Yeah, because she's just sitting there on her phone,
Right. I'm
She can
dating.
hear it from the kitchen.
When I hear
Dating a psychopath.
when I hear her humming Wall Market, there's a problem.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, one of the reasons they did want to make this game when they ultimately chose to do it was we're all getting really old, and if we don't do it now, we might die. Because they wanted to, Yoshinori Kitase, originally the director, they brought him back as producer. Kazushige Nojima was scenario for the original game, most of the novellas and the other stories he brought back, and was a story writer for this. And then, our boy Tetsuya Nomura, he was the one I was most worried about having his hands on this game because he did the original character designs and they looked great back then. But I think most of everything that's happened with the 7 franchise after the original game has been mostly miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. turning Cloud into an ultimate sad boy, and just Sephiroth slapped on every lunchbox you can find. They've lost their meaning a little bit, their original character meanings.
Just to go into a tiny bit of the original game, you don't really know that Sephiroth is the bad guy for, 10 hours.
Yeah.
You're outside of
until you're just like, oh shit, this guy can do this thing. Oh no!
Like the blood in the hallway, the dragging, like you see his wake.
It's the snake. It's that stupid fucking snake that
Midgard Sommer.
He's a presence that's used sparingly originally in the game,
and it works so well to build that character, to build that ominous feeling.
So what we're gonna do is the first half an hour of the game. Or first hour, we'll be generous. We'll take chapter one took a little longer, but I remember Sephiroth shows up very early in the game, and I was like,
first few scenes.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh, yeah.
Right after the first bombing mission.
To be fair, I will give it to them that they couldn't ever hide what was coming.
No.
Final Fantasy VII is what it is.
Here's what you want. You want the fucking bat. You want the black dude.
It's that guy. It's that guy with the sword.
Yes.
He's the guy with the big sword.
It's the classic debate of length versus girth.
Yeah.
So when you said, one of the things that struck me is that you said this is a sequel, and that now has become completely obvious. Obviously, there's spoilers here.
Spoilers.
So if anyone doesn't want to deal with that, then just turn it off. Play the damn thing. It was free
Why
last
are you
month.
listening
Go
to
with
this?
it.
First of all,
you
weirdo.
But
how did you find us?
Yeah, thank you.
But the story of this game
Patreon.
kind of doesn't make a ton of sense without the first one.
No, and I feel
and it
bad.
doesn't.
New players will be completely confused. Not so much at the beginning, which it's got confusing moments, but near the end, they just say "fuck you" to new players.
Yep.
This is Zach Fair, and everyone's like, "Well, what?"
Yes.
And even if you played the original game, you probably don't know much about Zach unless you did a little bit extra deep diving for those optional scenes.
You still got the emotional core of who he was, though.
Yeah,
I remember the name. That's all I remember when they brought up Zach.
It wouldn't hit the same way unless you played Crisis Core, and that was the only way you were getting that emotional impact. Honestly, it's the same as them throwing Kate Sith at the end, where it's just like, all right, I guess there's a cat with a blanket on his back now, or I don't know what's happening.
The few scenes he's in, I was just like, you really just had to throw him in here? I was like, okay, I know who this is. I know it's Reeve, but I was still kind of like, well, you can't just have a cat character
for anyone who doesn't
show up
a cat just hitting his hand on the thing.
It is a little jarring.
Why world? Why?
When everything's been kind of in normal reality of Final Fantasy reality.
The climax, the emotional climax of the entire game.
Yeah,
Sector 7. Yeah,
bar none. That is Sector 7 getting dropped.
Yeah.
That is such a huge moment.
I have some problems to bring up with Reeve and urban development if one pillar is holding up an entire plate.
And this is fantasy. We gotta just accept some of those things.
But they are walking a very difficult line here where it's a remake, so people expect a certain amount of things to happen. They expect Wall Market, Cloud to cross-dress. They knew they couldn't do the entire game, so they decided to flesh out some story beats and
add some extraneous characers that
did they know that they couldn't do it, or did they just do it
was
for money?
Amazing.
Chadley was not cool.
I think I beat the original playthrough in 30 hours, 25, 30 hours, something like that. So, that's a full experience. That's a full game in my mind.
Yeah.
And then with hard mode and end game content, it took me to maybe the 55-hour mark, something like that.
I'm just saying if they didn't make the conscious choice to spread things out,
they could have made an 8-hour game.
If you're making
true remake, you know what I mean?
Well, I think, and we'll go into some of the chapters in a little bit, but there are definitely some spots you could clip entire padding, and no one would know the difference.
Oh yeah.
But also, if you're going to make certain assets, you want to use them enough, you don't want to just
but come on.
We're talking about
we made
now,
this
right?
fucking this chair. You will see it 8 minutes.
yeah,
goddamn asset.
One of my biggest one of my biggest complaints, and it's going to be something I'll talk about more in depth as we go along, is just how fucking samey really everything in this game looks. They try their best. They really do. And there are times where I'm like, oh, this environment's like kind of, there's like a whole new vibe going on here. It's kind of a wasteland. But then there were some times where I'm just like, I would get lost in certain sections, especially the underside of the pillar, just because I'm like, I have to take a fucking elevator to the next side. Is there any like, is there any fucking like need for this besides padding?
That part was the first time through my only playthrough where I started to sense the padding. Are we talking about when you're under the plate?
And then you have
the lights
like,
or whatever the fucking thing?
And then you have to deal with the sunlight beams, like the artificial sun. Yeah. Because you got to divert power so that you can blow up the next reactor.
Yep. That's when I was like, okay, guys. Yeah. Maybe... Yeah, you could have clipped this.
I mean, I understand they wanted to add some more like dungeon gameplay spots. That felt so uninspired, so samey. Yeah. They even had to make jokes about it, like, first we go from C to D and then D to E. Yeah. And I was like, thank God, Barrett, because I was confused.
I was going to say, John H. Benjamin shined.
John Eric Bentley.
John Eric Bentley?
John Eric Bentley.
Or John Benjamin is Bob's Burgers.
Now I'm imagining an entire alternate universe where it's that guy.
Yeah.
Marlene, you're going to eat my burger.
No, but specifically the one that I remember is we're going on an adventure.
Oh yeah, so treasure. His little stingers at the end of the battles, or
When we talked with John, he said that they just told him to like just make some song up or whatever. So that's just what he made up on the spot there. Yeah,
which is amazing, and it worked. But yeah, it obviously needed to be there to make the entire experience not be, oh my God, this is
the same shit.
Dragon Quest 32 dungeon number 9.
Yeah. Some other quick numbers here. 3.5 million copies sold within the first 3 days, 5 million copies by the end of the year.
Monster Hunter Rise has already surpassed that.
Has it really?
Yes.
Monster Hunter is a very big deal in
like
certain
parts.
parts of the
Monster
world.
Hunter is incredible, by the way.
Which, once I get the Switch one, I'll let you know.
Just enjoy your tiny cat.
That's impressive,
that
especially like
you.
the first few days. So that's a lot of copies.
Oh, yes.
Also, a lot of tutorials. Just be ready for that.
Whatever, I got
For
time.
Monster Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, you were sorry, back on track.
Yeah, no worries. An enhanced PS5 version slated for later this year, June 10th, with some new stuff we might talk about at the end. But I want to talk a little bit about the battle system, which to me, this is one of the most fun, refined version of an RPG battle system I have ever experienced. I'd say this is probably my favorite thing that isn't pure turn-based.
Yeah. Elevating up the turn-based system into something that feels action RPG, even though it really honestly isn't. Like, if you're playing it right, it isn't. But it feels that way. You feel in the moment every single second. Yeah. You feel every mistake that you make that goes along with that, which is fantastic.
I like, because you can... Once you have a full charged little bar, you can choose to do a certain ability, a magic, whatever material you have on.
And they each cost one of those tick marks. They each cost a section of that.
Most of them just cost one. But what I love about it is when you're doing that, it goes into slow-mo. So I almost wish they would turn it up a little bit more so you could see things moving a little bit faster at you, because it is pretty wicked when you see like Tifa mid like somersault kick or something like that.
Yeah, mid dolphin kick.
Blow that dolphin.
Great battle system. I was expecting, shitty Square Enix Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Hack and slash, which is button mash. And they...
Heal.
It's like I said, I've said it multiple podcasts. I'm like, this is the one that, this battle system, it's like, they almost cracked the nut. It's almost there. Just a couple things. Tweak a little bit.
What would you tweak a little bit there?
Just the nipples.
I would... The AI of your companions, they are brain dead. We've talked about that before.
But I mean, this is the time to talk about it again.
Yes, they are almost just shells of nothingness when you are not controlling them.
They literally auto attack. and that's it.
And if that.
They're not even great at that.
And they're not great at that. Like, if you want them to be effective at all, you have to control them, give them a direction, switch to the next.
And honestly, there is a part of me that understands why they did it that way, because they want you to be shifting between all of these characters to develop strategy and stuff. But it's almost like there has to be a better way to make that occur.
It's got to be a gambit. Put a fucking
Gambit system, yeah.
in there, man.
Yep.
Like,
But just have the options in there, because something that they do,
option,
this,
yeah.
then this, like little macros,
or even just
that'd be
like
fine.
something.
I have to ask then, am I the only one that hit that free flow moment of where, like, literally the whole time I was switching through characters, sending in inputs,
Yeah.
and it felt beautiful?
No, I
had that.
I definitely hit those too, because
Yeah,
you'll
there
get
were-
Cloud queued up to do something. You drop over to Barrett, do an overcharge, and then do a focus shot.
Yeah.
Switch over to Tifa. Tifa's my favorite person to just
It's
be
like a beautiful
rocking
song.
her.
She was
combos.
my main.
You get in the zone. It's like a beautiful symphony, but there are so many times where I'm like, why don't you fucking heal yourself?
Eric, you have heal.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
No,
Like,
Just use a
100%.
high potion,
And
fucker.
it was only when I had my chosen party to be playing with, which always was going to be Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett.
Yeah. There's the other problem.
that was the moment where I hit that like free flow, like Zen moment where every single like instant of that game, every combat moment, and that was when hard mode got really worth it for me because it felt so rewarding.
Yeah.
Hard mode, you didn't play it, and I don't think you played it. It really changes how you approach everything, because
You have to market everything.
you can't use items at all. So the only way you're getting materia back is through like things you can do in battle, like pairing deadly dodge with HP absorption or something like that.
Yeah.
And even the benches, they don't give you any MP. So you need to actually consider your materia, and you need to take your time and like strategize instead of I have all the potions and silly things in the world where
Doesn't matter.
I didn't have too many. You learned a lot more about the battle system in hard mode. I don't think that I really fucked around with Punisher for Cloud at all that much during the main game. I was just so used to like the normal stuff, and you don't realize like in those duels, Punisher mode where he does the auto counter is fucking awesome.
Yeah, kill.
I was big on Punisher even in that one because I have more of a charge style battle. Like, because this game essentially does function like a fighting game in a lot of ways. If only because of how you develop the combos between the materia, and then like the hit combos. I thought it was literally just going to be like the same animation over and over again. But if you switch between Punisher and I'm sorry, what is the other mode?
Operator.
If you switch between those, you can actually like fighting game style like clip into the next move by switching in that moment, which is really cool.
I vaguely remember that. Yes.
They did actually patch it out, but I learned that in Punisher mode there was a way that you could clip into the dodge and then cycle it.
Yeah.
So that you were literally invulnerable. I love breaking games.
Yeah, cheese the fuck out of it.
I enjoy it so much.
There's a way with Tifa and the parry materia too, where you can just wind up sliding around the entire field. I didn't really fuck around with that too much, but Tifa is more of your brawler. She's up close.
Yeah.
She can use unbridled strength and stack up her combos a little bit.
Or Star Strike, or
I fucking love that animation.
That animation turns her into an unstoppable juggernaut that will ruin everyone's day.
Yes.
That I've used that
use
to
it.
clear out.
If you're going to
rooms.
play this game, use that.
A very effective party member, that Tifa.
And then you have Barrett, he's long range. He can use some close range weapons. I didn't use them for too long, but he can shoot. And then
I did.
Aaron,
It's actually quite rewarding.
I've heard he's pretty good with the cannonball. Get
Yeah.
up there and just punch some people. Although I love in the cutscenes when you have it equipped, he's just like, I'll shoot you. You're just like, you have him.
Nope.
What?
Sorry, bud.
Sorry, bud.
That's not how anything works.
One of the things that I really admired too is that most of the leveling up is just done through your weapons.
Oh, I love that way of developing your character and
Yeah.
choosing how you want to rolls for them and stuff.
However, it did seem kind of superfluous. It didn't seem like your magic goes up 4 or your strength goes up like 10% or whatever. But you get these swords, and basically the swords have one function. like this is what this sword is for. This is if you're a magic user. This one is if you're you want a more defensive stance. Or then there's one with HP, I believe, is like the focus, and then one's just pure attack, which is the hard edge.
Yeah.
The hard edge became the one I used most. But another thing that's cool with those weapons is each weapon for every character has a different ability attached to it, and you're able to unlock those abilities. So you're able to bring triple slash along to your next weapon.
It was always worth mastering those weapons, even if you never planned on using them ever again, because you needed those skills.
But yeah, the two core systems for this Final Fantasy game are going to be your weapons, and you unlock points to unlock more things on the weapons through story beats or through buying them through the Moogle shop. And then the materia system is not as deep as the original. There's fewer materia to choose from, but there are a lot of, I think,
Combos,
combos and unused things that people don't really realize the potential
I
for.
feel like it's there. It's just that the materia system is unfinished because the entire system is unfinished. You know, like there's so many more awesome things to come that can be comboed on.
Yeah.
I like not to reference the original game because I know we're talking about the remake, but
Impossible not to.
I had a playthrough where I could literally cast Knights of the Round 8 times in a turn, and I would just leave my computer, and then my game
like
is
60
done.
hours worth of game. That's great.
Yeah, I got over 200 hours in that game. It was awesome.
But it also one-shot Sephiroth, so it's badass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not too much big end game content for this. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But materia, weapons, equipment, all of this fun stuff. So a demo was released, and on this demo was the full Chapter 1. And I kind of think we should just kind of go chapter through chapter and just discuss some of our thoughts we have.
Sure.
If there's anything that sticks out. The first one is, of course, that big, beautiful destruction of Mako Reactor 1. I remember being very happy that the intro was
So true.
to the original, although subtly different.
It took its liberties.
Yep.
Aerith was a little scared.
Startled.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I prefer this opening to the original one because it gives you more of a view of kind of the disparity between, because if you're going to spend your entire life in this game, if you're going to spend your entire time in the game in Midgard, you got to at least get like a full view of it this time, because you weren't on the top side layer all that much in the first one.
No, there was not a
all.
lot of shots in the original game where you'd see the upper like plate and then the life below.
Yeah.
And they really, there's a lot of beautiful shots of the disparity there, the rotten pizza.
That new opening is
Wonderful.
incredible.
Yep.
It's
and,
wonderful.
and it sets the scene so well, and it honestly, without truly saying it, sets the scene for Shinra to be what it is in the game. Which the original game, it sets up Shinra well enough, but it doesn't give that like background world building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like an obstacle to
They
get
were
yourself out of.
they were the bad guys.
It's the most obvious imagery for class disparity you could possibly have.
Yes.
There's a literal plate above, and then the whole
Right.
like smuggy, like terrible area below, and then they
That we
always
get to
just
live in.
they intermittently cut to President Shinra smoking cigars and stuff like that.
That intro for me, like that unlocked feels that I didn't even know I had deep down. Some hardcore nostalgia came bubbling up just from that first cutscene.
But also the recreation of the music.
And then you immediately get into a battle sequence to get that new battle system where I was ready just to be underwhelmed, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But no,
Okay.
If anything,
This is all right.
if anything, it comes at you a little too fast because they're explaining stuff like each of those first 4 or 5 battles or whatever. I'm like, okay. And then I might
just keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I love that this game and the original, like they don't hold your hand at first. It's like you're going to go destroy something and it's very fast paced. The music is kicking you in the dick right away.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of slow, like, trust me, 20 hours later, it's going to get good.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's amazing and beautiful. You're jumping off a train and you're destroying soldiers. And
Jesse's my new waifu. I'm in.
His sword is so big, don't you think, Biggs? Jesus, Jesse, for 5 seconds.
I wonder what his deal is. I loved that kind of. I do think that Square Enix has become pretty good at like storytelling more through their cutscenes now.
Yeah.
In a way that they weren't quite before. And now they've actually got like cinematographers working with them, and it all feels a little bit more nuanced than what it used to be. Even though Final Fantasy X has like those beautiful like storytelling moments, those pseudo FMVs, like
a blitzball.
Well, Yuna doing the sending, like there would be times
Aron doing anything.
Yes.
He just shows up and says,
Yuna and Titus laughing together.
I mean, those weren't FMVs, but
voice acting has come a long way.
Voice acting. Also, though, I really genuinely think that moment was actually on purpose. But
yeah, I think so too. I just think it didn't hit the way people expected.
Nomura did say that he wanted to do some redesigning for the designs for this game compared to like Advent Children, because he thought in Advent Children, it's like we kind of went too real with their designs and it lost some of the characterization. If you see the size of Barrett's fucking hand, like it's got a great cartooniness that is also accurate to how I imagined him in my head, just because like the size of his boots is half the size of Aerith back in the day.
He is a man. Just,
you are correct.
Does he wear his gun to bed?
Very nice.
I'm sorry, but he is one of my man crushes of video games, and I will not back down from that at all.
You are allowed that.
I don't agree with a lot of the expansion stuff they did, but I think Biggs, Jesse, and Wedge, those characters all really work and they're fun. The voice actor for Biggs is Balthier from FF12. He's got like that great voice for that, and Jesse just comes off as a real thirsty girl, which matches how hungry Wedge is portrayed. Literally every time Wedge is on screen, oh, I'm hungry, which is not. That is one thing that doesn't really work for me. Is like the fat guy just needs to be the jokes about eating food.
That's very Japanese though. Like they made him that trope on purpose. He's actually the only one of that group that I actually was like, well, they didn't even try to give. Like, I got more out of Wedge or Wedge is the Biggs. I got more out of Biggs this time too, because he just seems like a very self-assured, confident guy.
Yeah,
and like
he
a lot
struck
of subtlety.
Me a little Han Solo, but like older.
He definitely has like a man. I lived a hard life, but I'm not going to take this shit that seriously. And I loved what they did with Jessie. I felt immediately attached. Well, I mean, she looks great.
When she's riding on the motorcycle with me, I was just like, this is great gameplay.
Like, oh my gosh. The hyper.
You're so good, you got to tell her to shut up.
Yeah,
the long and awful motorcycle segment. Yes,
there is something that I think they could have really screwed the pooch on, and that's Cloud, because his characterization and everything after the original game has been, I'm sad and I don't know what I'm doing and no one understands me. And in the original game, he's kind of a dick and he's kind of a goober, but he's also like, he can deliver when he needs to. Yeah. And I was very happy that they made him kind of a smart ass, because Barrett's like going off about the planet needs us, and he's going on this long speech.
Get help.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're such a douche.
It's funny,
but it really does work for that like self-entitled
right.
He's soldier first class, ish,
except not at all. I think like. One of the good ways that having a remake can really kind of like up the original is that you get to see a lot more subtlety. If everything is based on text and they make zero facial expressions, there's so much that you're going to miss out on. Like people, like I'm a big Final Fantasy VIII fan, and I don't talk to a lot of people that really understand the character of Squall or what like he was actually like saying.
That's the name of the guy from Final Fantasy VIII.
His blade is a gun, dude.
I thought it was the guy with the scar on his face.
That's Cypher. And Squall.
They both have scars on their face.
From each other.
I'm just kidding. Yes, of course it's Squall. Come on.
So that's one of the things I liked. I liked that Cloud seemed more he seemed more like tangible and real. I do have to say though, I find Tifa and Aerith to be so demure and like pushed. Like their personalities are basically like
Aerith
I want
more
Aerith.
than Tifa. Tifa, I thought was pretty.
Tifa
well
was okay. However, everyone has this kind of like Cloud. I'm sticking on my boobies right now.
Literally every girl that comes on screen.
Yeah, no, that I will not argue, but I will say that I love both characterizations of like both of those characters because Tifa absolutely is that girl that you grew up with. By the way, she is my waifu.
But Tifa never really had strong feelings for Cloud back in the day.
No,
he was that one weird kid. He's like, I have a really cool skateboard at home. And she's like, that's really great, Cloud.
Like,
I'm going to skateboard school. And she's like, I don't care.
I'm going to skateboard school.
but also in like that same breath, Aerith is the number one person to give Cloud shit through the entire thing.
Which she did some in the original game, but they did a really good job in this game about making her... because everyone wants to perceive her as virginal and very innocent.
Oh, not at all.
And no, she says a lot of very fun little one-liners in this.
My favorite actual voice-acted line of the entire thing is her climbing up the ladder and going, clink, shit! I died. I laughed out loud for like a solid 5 minutes in my living room by myself. Like it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's this trend in modern games now where the travel has to kind of have like this Sorkin-esque walk-in talk in order for it to seem like you're not doing something mundane.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you were walking with somebody for 15 minutes.
Yes. And I do think
all I know, shut the fuck up.
All I know,
it's been 15 minutes.
All I know is Tifa would kill for a shower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because literally every other battle could kill for a shower. I'm like, yeah, we know, and I'm into it, but you've been saying it a lot.
It's like,
I'm right there with you.
Right. Speaking my language, honey.
I will kill for a shower. Could use a real bidet right now. Like, that's not something you hear parents say.
So
a nice mani-pedi.
I do have to say that opening was so... Because I played it here. I played the demo here last year. And if half of that demo, that first chapter, was the rest of the game, like if they had kept up like a pace and given me like more substantial things to do, this would be like a 10 out of 10 game for me. Because like the traversal, there's something weird about the dungeon style, like how they make you move throughout the world. And I think a lot of it is... It's based on this idea that they're just trying to make it seem a lot bigger than what it actually is. Because when you look at that map, it is not big. And it's packed with detail, and it's colorful, and it's nice. But I'm also kind of just like, I don't know, man. At the end of it, you get real tired of Midgar. I didn't fall in love with it.
There are definitely sections that they could have cut out.
Yeah.
I'd say you could trim 3 or 4 chapters pretty sizably. There are some things, though, that I think do have value, even if they don't feel great at first.
Is there something that comes to mind?
Chapters where you have a lot of side quests where you're just helping the civilians doing like bullshit work, like
more of that.
That fuck boy who's trying to bang Tifa. I have to clear out some rats for him. I'm like, I'll help you, bud.
Yeah, I enjoyed the side quest aspect.
You mean
I thought
Nolan
that came
North?
to an end too soon.
Is that Nolan North?
Yeah,
the fuck boy.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Which guy?
Sorry, Nolan. We love you.
The item shop owner.
100%
Stay away
Nolan
from
North.
Tifa.
So
Zoe.
one of the things I will say about the side quests though is that there's some of them that felt like it's just like, well, none of this is really what the game is, like, because most of the time an RPG is its battle system, and if you don't have like sometimes it feels like they didn't have confidence in their own work. Think about traveling through, like, when you have Aerith with you and you're traveling back to Wall Market and you have to, like, do the shit with you have to carry the giant arms carry things so that you can get across, and like the ladders and stuff.
If that chapter didn't have the most banging music, I would have been very upset.
Exactly. but the fact that enemy encounters in this game are extremely few and far between, in my opinion.
But let's get back to the perfect fucking pacing of chapter 1. Because, oh man, like, you're learning the battles, you're getting to know Barrett, everyone's having this nice little back and forth. Yeah. And then you get there, and that first boss battle, the music gets to be, it seems like the most intense song I've ever heard in my life. And it is the first boss battle. And it's like a 10-15 minute affair the first time you play through it. Yeah. When you're fighting the guard scorpion.
And I don't know if you guys played on normal, but like even on normal,
it's pretty hard.
It's a significant fight. Like if you're not ready for it, you're gonna die.
But it also teaches you that some battles actually have like these half scripted elements where like the hiding behind objects and stuff like that. Like honestly, if Kingdom Hearts had more shit like that, like I'd be like, okay, I can kind of get that. Like that's cool.
I do like this.
It's not straightforward. It's not just a giant arena where you're fucking things up, unless it's the Colosseum, obviously. But
and certain bosses will have weak points, or you have to stagger certain things, or you have to get like behind it, or heaven forbid they jump away. You have to switch characters to use Barrett or magic. I was just
scan means something in this game.
Assess is very
actually
nice.
Does, yeah.
Which
I like that.
Which in the other games it didn't fucking matter.
So what you're saying is you like Chadley.
I don't like Chadley. I don't like documenting for his little pet projects.
Cloud, it's good to see you. I'm a robot made by Hojo, and my name is Chadley.
Oh, I only remember Chadley talking to me after I was cross-dressing. So
that was a good moment. That was. I have emotions I've never felt before, Cloud.
I've heard so many. Speaking of like the cross dressing, I've heard from so many lesbians that like Cloud in a dress could fucking get it.
Let's
absolutely.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Like perfect like bait for them.
I was so blown away at the perfect pacing of chapter 1. How they just like designed that whole level, the world.
I mean, Square they must have iterated on that beginning so many times just to get it perfect, because that was the point of the game that needed to pop, and that's true.
It's Green Hill Zone.
Yes.
Well, in so many video games, the first part doesn't pop. Like it takes.
But most people, like most, I don't want to say most, but a lot of video game development, they concentrate on the first part of the game because a lot of times that's the only
you need that first hour
people play.
You need that first hour.
And this was the demo.
This was a first hour with ton of expectation, and I thought, like you guys said, I thought they really pulled it off with panache. I really enjoyed it, and it sucked me in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think something that's so great with how chapter 2 kind of starts out too is they're really playing up. Oh, people can die from like terrorism, and even though like Shinra was like making the explosion a little bigger or whatever, but like there's a lot of repercussions from what they're doing, and it's so great the first time, because I'm one of those guys who look at all the fucking books I have in front of you right now. Like, I want to understand the world.
See this.
There's a lot here.
It's horrible.
I have the novellas and stuff, but as soon as you start walking through the city and you hear all of the dialogue from all of just the random NPCs, and I was like, oh no, I have to listen to you and you and you.
That was the biggest thing for me.
Because it taught me, like, nope, you listen to what you can, but...
I stopped for every single piece of dialogue. Cloud awkwardly stood over the shoulder of every single person that had something to say.
If you got into the conversation mid, like as they were saying,
I was in it
in mid conversation. Would you wait till it looped over again? Or,
yeah,
it isn't. Yeah. There is a little awkward pause. For like, okay, nothing new.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they're like, we're trying to grieve and look for our dad. Can you quit looking at us, Cloud Strife? And he's like,
and I would stay there until they started talking again to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, because I'm heartless.
My only critique of some of like the voice stuff is there's a lot of anime grunting in the main characters, which
They have to though.
Yep.
do you have to?
Didn't I ask John Bentley that? I can't remember if I did or not. But
It's-
these Japanese games, or I don't want to say all, but a lot of the RPGs. Same thing with
Ryuji. I've heard so many Ryuji grunts.
Yakuza as well. Just
For real?
At least
you
that's
just
a
can't
word.
have a close up on a person on a character's face. They have to grunt or like a.
Hey, I have recorded at least 30 like straight up.
For yourself?
Is that your,
I
is that your
used to-
voicemail greeting?
No. I used to do. Never mind.
Okay. I'll have to ask about that later.
Yeah.
For real? First of all, I was looking through your little book, Brad, here, and
That is the art book that comes with the deluxe edition of the PS4 game.
so there are a lot of implications. I'm looking at Barrett's little thing. And,
The implications of Barrett's little thing.
Oh boy. He wouldn't like that.
it's a little picture
that
of
at all.
kind of his
pretty
concept
good.
art. And Toad Barrett, he grows his arm back.
Ooh.
Hey.
I wish he had a little pea shooter, a little frog pea shooter.
I was honestly
They're
like,
regenerative.
Yeah.
see, look, I mean,
What if he got turned into a frog and he came back and he had a full arm?
that's
Just
like
salamanders?
lizards.
Or?
Yeah.
So we're talking the Barrett when he gets turned into a toad.
That little picture right there.
Oh, what a neat little detail. I like Toad Barrett, everybody.
He is pretty cute.
It's official.
All of the Toad Final Fantasy characters are adorable.
It's good.
There is, even before you see Aerith, though, in Chapter 2, Sephiroth makes his first appearance. And like I said before,
Yes.
I was weirded out by it.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Well, it's almost just like, all right, we're going to get this out of the way. You're going to see Sephiroth. You're going to see him a lot. Because you also get, like, the Sector 8 and Sector 1 are, like, merging with Nibelheim. And you're seeing do you see the flames? Cloud is talking to Sephiroth. So in my research, the Ultimania has been translated for this game. There are 4 kinds of Sephiroth that appear throughout this game.
Yes.
Let me see what they all are here. There's an illusion only Cloud can see, which that one seems to have information and is trying to convince Cloud to do something. There's the black-robed men, which is the original Sephiroth, Genova people. Yep. And then there's just flashbacks, which is him seeing stuff in the past. And then there's the unknown, which you only ever see him at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
But
That's the one you defeat, correct?
Yeah.
So he also defeats you, though.
Yes.
But I don't know. On my playthroughs, I'm getting the feeling that this Sephiroth, we all know he's aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And he's
has a plan.
he's manipulating Cloud, and I don't know, like, is he trying to get Cloud to destroy the Whispers so he is free to move forward from then on?
Yes.
Like, that's the vibe I was getting, but also Zach Fair is maybe alive in an alternate universe, so I was confused. Shit, that's some end of the podcast.
I was going to say, this may be worth talking about at the end of all of this, but...
Let's look at more pretty pictures of frogs. We're going to take a quick break and hear from some of the other amazing shows from the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Greenlit Podcast Network for life.
We love you so much. We'll be right back.
Do you love The Legend of Zelda? Here at Chat of the Wild, a Game Club podcast, we have been using our lens of truth to do deep dives on your favorite action-adventure series to find out what makes this franchise so amazing. Join us right now as we sail through the Wind Waker, or check out any of our past seasons. New episodes drop every Wednesday here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Ray, and this is my friend Alex.
Hi.
And we do a show called No More Whoppers.
Some call it corn, we call it therapy.
We're adults with the virility of men.
Want to hear us read snack food copy and talk about Japanese chips? Too bad!
Join us every month or so on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
And we're back, everybody.
You were waiting for that. Yeah.
Before we move on, I think it's just really great, some of the background world design, how they make oblique references to some of the other games. There were like signs for Bonora white apple juice. This is in the very first room of the first thing. There is an advertisement for 7, which you can see the world through her eyes with Shinra X sensor. It's talking about how you can see through a cat's eyes. They might be like teasing some catchy stuff.
Gotta love the Loveless reference.
And then hair tonic for astonishingly radiant and spiky hair.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's not
hopefully they don't make Loveless the fucking thing from Crisis Core though, because
It's a full DLC. You get to watch all of Loveless.
I'm going to kill.
But John Eric Bentley does all the characters, so it'd be really
It's just one person reciting poetry. That's it.
Yeah, and he looks like a J-pop sensation.
So I think that I was a little oblivious to what was going on at first, and I didn't really think about it too critically. But I have a feeling the first time that you ran into Aerith, the things that were different, Nick, you were probably a little bit more tuned into.
Oh yeah, no, I immediately, like the first moment that she started glancing over her shoulder and kind of like getting spooked and stuff like that. That was definitely one of those moments where I was just like, huh, what's so this is
the Heartless?
I remember this scene, and I don't remember this scene being like this scene. The hell is happening?
The magic Deus Ex ghosts.
Which, okay, the Whispers.
A point
a
of
great 80s
contention.
band, by the way.
The Whispers?
Yeah, the Whispers are awesome.
They're actually based off of them. A lot of people didn't know that.
Had a hit song called Rocksteady. It's good.
They haven't aged very well.
Yeah, we run into our favorite flower girl for one of the most iconic scenes in video game history, I would say. One of them, just like...
Which this time doesn't read as super romantic, whereas the first time it happened, immediately you were like, oh, love interest.
Well, but in the original, it's just like these two have a moment and they share, like, exchange a flower. And this, a bunch of soldiers show up and there's ghosts flying everywhere. Yeah.
With this one, I think Aerith just thought Cloud would look pretty with a flower on him.
But it's so...
But she also knows Cloud. Like,
so
there's like that
very
familiar
clear.
look.
Kind of. She recognizes the Mako eyes.
Yep.
Which...
she also knows he's a soldier before, like, at all, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Aerith is the only other player in this game that actually has Sephiroth's insight, or at least the Sephiroth that is teasing Cloud.
She's also the Christ figure of the game.
Well, there's a lot of weird parallels between those two, but also they kind of explain that someone who can perceive these whispers, when they touch another person or interact with them, it spreads to them. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're affected by someone that's changing fate, then you are being you've been changed and affected as well. So Cloud doesn't see him at first, and then they exchange the flower. They have a moment, and then he sees him, but then he makes a comment, "Why aren't you guys scared?" to the soldiers that are surrounded by him.
Now, generally speaking, when you saw the whispers show up, were you glad to you were just like, whoa, this is crazy, what's going on? Or were you just like, really? Okay.
Worried. I was worried.
I was concerned as well.
We've had Sephiroth show up way earlier than I wasn't reconciled with what this game was yet, and I was worried about the numerification, and I was afraid there would be a lot of stuff like this that didn't need to be there, but I didn't understand. It wasn't until like the end of the game where I was fully on board with what was happening. But golly, seeing Sephiroth that early and then seeing these whispers, I was like, I'm not sure I'm on board with this.
Yeah,
I'm just upset they stole my mushroom hallucinations.
You've been seeing the Arbingers of Fate for a long time, Dylan.
Literally, there's this phenomenon when you take shrooms or any type of like big time hallucinogen, where sometimes you can see what they call like the machine elves, and they're like these little creatures that make everything run, like especially electrical equipment and stuff like that. And immediately I was just like, they stole my hallucinations.
What if instead of whisper,
I need to contact your dealer, buddy.
Or
no, this is
better shit than I do.
This is a very common thing, especially whatever. It's like the Green Man, like the ancient like Cernunnos kind of like.
What if instead of whispers, it was just like a bunch of fans, like a bunch of like dudes, like, no, this didn't happen this way, just like yelling at the characters. You can't talk to her yet.
That's basically it. It's just like now I'm going to sweep you away. Whee!
Like Barrick is stabbed. They're like, no, he's alive. They just pick him back up. Like he's alive.
I do have to say that whenever the whispers showed up, I'm like, that was an arbitrary time to change fate. Like these things should only be showing up at like very critical moments within the story. They shouldn't be like now they're just in the town and everyone's like, what
I
are
just
these
want to say,
things?
as somebody who's not as steeped in the lore or has done multiple playthroughs of the original game, I don't know. I was just along for the ride at that point.
Sure.
Seeing Sephiroth that early, I just thought, of course they're going to do this because people want to see Sephiroth.
Got to sell the action figure.
And then I'm like, I don't remember these fucking ghosts going around me. But
they'll make a sick plushie someday.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
let's do it. They are like the Heartless of this game or something.
Well, and see, that was my biggest concern, was that I didn't want a faceless thing to become a major character in a game that always had a face to a name. Like,
Sure.
every single one of original Final Fantasy VII's characters have a character arc and a reason for being there, and that's what made the game as good as it was.
There's actually a concept within like the video game design community, especially when it comes to like making characters and making enemies and stuff. And one of the things that they try to teach now is that you don't want to just make intimidating blobs be your enemy. Like just some like generic, like I'm dark and scary, I'm trying a bit too hard. It's always supposed to be like
It's the evil overlord effect.
It's just like it's just like, oh, I just wear entire black armor, or like even like the Whispers. They're clearly just shrouded Grim Reaper like.
Kingdom Hearts has affected me in some negative ways, where it's just like Heartless and Nobodies and all of these stupid concepts that Nomura's in love with. In order for Mickey and Goofy to run around and just fight in Disney worlds, like it seems like a little too self-important, and I was afraid like this doesn't need tampering. But ultimately, I kind of liked where they wound up.
I don't mind what they did with these Harbingers of Fate. I hope that
Those
they
were cool.
don't lean on it too hard.
Well, I think they're gone. Well,
You defeat them.
we'll get
Whatever, yeah.
A nice little moment on my third fucking playthrough. I noticed that when they get to the train in Chapter 2, there is just an extra. The thief that is stealing stuff is Kyrie, who you run into later, who's also in the Turk's side story, The Kids Are All Right, as well as Leslie and Mireille, some other great characters.
Brad just pulled out the book, by the way.
That's actually a pretty good book. Of all the extra side content, this is the only one worth reading.
I liked Gilligan.
Yeah, okay, Gilligan, that's the Red 13 one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I liked
Nanaki.
Gilligan. He was fun.
Gilligan was like Nanaki's inner doubt. He named him Gilligan.
So now that I've saved the world,
Good.
All right, moving on.
This is the hole that some of us don't know what's going on.
Nick and I are just, we've gone
dude,
plaid.
you gotta read it. You gotta read it, Nick. You gotta read it. It is fucking buck wild.
So chapter 15.
They get off the train in Chapter 3 here, and Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge are like, yeah, we did it. And Barrett tells him to be quiet.
Fuckers.
You're a guy with a giant fucking gun for an arm. You literally don't blend in around anywhere right here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a fantasy world. You can have a gun for an arm. That's just
I also
There's
don't.
only, but no,
capable.
in universe, there's literally only one other guy who had a gun for an arm.
I don't think anyone in Sector 7 was ever going to be a narc because it seems like a pretty tight community for a lot more reasons.
You don't
than
ask
that.
questions. You don't you just look out for
But
your
if you're
neighbors.
too
the
obvious,
neighborhood
there's
watch.
still Shinra soldiers around. So Barrett
which
could
they
pass
made it
off
very
as,
apparent.
yeah.
One thing I liked overhearing was some guy was trying to take one of the NPCs was trying to take a chick in the train graveyard to bang, and she's like, I don't think that's a good idea, dude.
That is funny.
That is pinky up.
That's fair. That's fair.
When you're horny, I guess.
Yeah, but let's not get those specters all riled up, you know?
A lot happens in this one with water filters and side quests, but most importantly, you
Oh
get
my
to see
fucking god, the water filter shit.
You get to see Tifa and Seventh Heaven, which is the biggest showpiece. They serve eggs and chips and pizza, 2 pinball machines. They
Play
of course
some darts.
The next big fan service destination, I would say.
Yeah.
And
It looks great.
absolutely.
And I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah.
Just as a fan, getting to truly sit down, have a drink at the bar, go over, hang out, and throw some darts.
I don't remember the specific details, but I thought even Tifa's introduction was pretty well done.
With Marlene out on the porch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
No, it was beautiful, and
she's the only voice of
it wasn't
reason.
like
where
all
she's
of a sudden a cutscene and she turns around and whisper hair or something. Like, here's Tifa.
Yeah.
It was just
you
organic.
walk up. Yeah, and Marlene is frightened of Cloud because, of course, you are. There's a giant blonde man with spiky hair and a giant friggin' sword on his back.
her dad has a gun for an arm.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you might be conditioned to some sketchy folks coming around.
I think it might just be vibes that he's putting off.
Yeah,
Like, it might just be like his key.
Tifa's
his
all like,
keys up in
Tifa's
it.
like, it's so good to see you. He was like, I just need my money. And I'm like, haven't seen you in 5 years. Like, good to catch up.
Where's my money?
Your smoking hot childhood friend just wants to like buy you a drink.
That you clearly were very invested in. Because you were bragging about skateboard school for so long. To where
Skateboard school.
I promise I'll come back and teach you how to tray flip. She just wasn't having it. But
Somehow she still gets you an apartment.
somehow,
Yeah.
I think the biggest
landlady.
accomplishment that happens is they somehow make
You love the landlady. That's your waifu.
She's a good character.
I'll tell you, Sonny, you don't break her heart.
You treat her good, Cloud.
Yeah, it's like,
These water filters are
She's
great.
chain smoking through a trach ring.
It makes it taste less like rotten eggs. One of the questions I wrote in our Discord that I was always going to bring up is I just want like someday I want a system where I can smell what's going on in a video game, because Sector 7 must smell like dog shit all the time. But nobody's like retching over it. They must be used to it. But even Cloud showing up now, he would probably be like, fuck, what's that smell everywhere? Oh, that's like, I live in Walker's Point. Oh, that's just the Walker's Point smell.
Yeah. Which you drive.
He's a mercenary. He's used to opening up stomachs.
Yeah, but he's not a mercenary.
Well, he becomes one this chapter.
Yes. His first time being one, too. Otherwise, he was just a Shinra soldier who probably didn't do a lot. He seemed very ineffective.
Somehow they managed to make Tifa's lack of clothing work. Like, they make it seem okay for her to have barely any clothing on. Her skirt is
She's a lot more now.
Yeah, she wore. Yes.
Well,
She's actually wearing a sports bra.
Yeah.
And she has like
Her clothing now is functional.
Well, the way she walks, the way she walks around, I'm just like, I think people be looking a little bit more. You don't have much on, but I don't know. It
but
works.
everybody does know Tifa's name.
Well,
in the
she's
city,
she's
so.
like, if you're nice to that item shop guy, he might give you discounts. She's like, I think he probably gives you discounts for different reasons.
Right.
Cloud says something along those lines. It's like, I'm not going to butter him up.
I'm not. I'm not for bullshit.
Nolan North.
Nolan North, macking hard. Also, we are all Nolan North. Let's be honest.
Well, we get introduced to a couple other characters this chapter. We of course had the probably the most iconic character in the game, Chadley. He is a little white-haired boy with a monocle.
Hey,
a cyber monocle.
He gets you summons.
Yeah.
AKA most important
It's a
person
virtual
in the
reality
game.
boy.
And he teaches you Battle Intel teaches you like more about how to use different systems. But it's Chadley, and Chadley's story arc ends later. Then another character who was
Gruesomely.
another character that was extremely minor in the original game, but a named character, gets a lot of love this game, and that's of course Johnny.
Oh, good old Johnny.
Fuckboy Johnny. I'm
Johnny
at a
is that-
picture of him right
Which
now.
one's Johnny?
I hate Johnny so much.
Johnny is that one
okay.
guy that Tifa dated back in the day, or just fucked him once at a party, and now he is there.
Yeah.
Well, in this picture, it looks like he's got blitz balls. I'm not even kidding.
Yes. And what's he holding in his hands?
Well, that's of course in the same universe. Blitzballs could exist.
It's possible, yeah.
He's actually the one that designed those blitzballs.
Well, he'd be afterwards. Because Shinra from FF10 shows up later in the game, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you kill some rats, you find some cats, you fight a drake in the graveyard, and if you do all of your side quests, Tifo lets you choose an outfit for her, which is fun.
Which one did we all choose?
Oh, the first time I chose mature. It was like mature, exotic, or...
I went with exotic.
I forget what the other option was.
You choose her fucking dress.
If you do all the side quests, you get to choose what dress she wears.
But I did all the side quests.
This is
There
why
wasn't
we
like
do
a-
side quests.
But yeah,
Right.
I understand.
I missed that part. I do not remember this.
I know I did all the side quests.
Well, she
There were no
takes you
more
back and
options.
she says, we should go on a date later. What do you think I should wear? And that's what she winds up wearing.
Jesse.
On,
You want her to
honestly.
wear Jesse.
I say, and then I'll say, keep on the pointy weird boots.
There you go. Yes.
I forgot to mention Chapter 2, there was 2 confirmed bars, the Pilferer's Pub and Bar Casmo.
Bar Casmo, that's good.
Okay, not bad.
I only could find Seventh Heaven in this chapter, but their signature drink is the Cosmo Canyon. It's a red cocktail.
Sick. That's
Cosmo
clever, man.
Canyon.
I gotta
And it
tell
makes
you.
sense. That's the birthplace of Avalanche. I can understand them wanting to have that as their drink. Cloud fights some hoodlums because Barrett says he doesn't want Cloud there for the next mission. And you go to bed in your apartment.
With your boots on.
Well, as you do.
With your boots on.
It's a little disgusting.
As you do. Do you
It's
run
only because you knew you were going to be woken up.
Yeah, at least he hangs up the sword. I thought it was a good.
That's the weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing in RPGs, though. Like they just
blankets.
sleep on top of the fucking bed. Oh, but even Mario in Mario RPG slept underneath the covers.
Ending in Mario 2.
Yeah,
He's fully covered.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to code them undressing themselves?
It actually would add a lot more believability because every time someone does it, I'm like, take off your shoes.
Come on, man.
You can still wear your dirty ass clothes. I don't care. You might be too tired, but even Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding is like, fuck. And you just like, you can literally see him.
Yeah, just
you can
kick him off.
He kicks off his own shoes and he just goes,
He just gets completely naked.
yeah. So he doesn't get under the covers, but it's just like,
One of my favorite things that some modders have been able to do, the way the models and the outfits work, they've been able to figure out a way to make Cloud wear dresses for the entire game. And it, like even during battle,
with
they'll-
flowy.
during the
dress
battle, they
physics.
flow
Yep.
around with the
Shit.
bikes, and they can do it with the other characters as well. But
I'm
got the
surprised that
tangled hair
wasn't like
physics.
a post game, new game plus
yeah.
kind of
well,
thing you could do.
the implications are that you can make Barrett wear a sailor outfit for the entire next game.
That's
Hopefully,
fucking beautiful.
Until everyone becomes a village person.
By the way, Square, if you're listening, yes, please.
yes,
yes,
Just yes.
I will
Yes,
buy.
I am.
I'll buy 10 more Butterfingers for this.
give it. It can be a $10 DLC. I will buy it.
Brad,
I don't
let's
care.
not pretend that's something you weren't gonna do anyway.
It's like it's a win-win. It's a win-win, dude.
Charlie's just like, fuck.
Oh, good
No,
lord.
there was a drawer of candy bars for a while. It was great. We run into our first tattooed gentleman named Marco, who was next door. Cloud tries to just kill the neighbor, and Tifa walks in, and Cloud's about to just kill some dude who's just clearly not kind of sick because she's not seeing these Sephiroth visions. But
Yes.
yeah. So
Also, though,
Tifa, maybe he's crazy. Don't give him some space, but no, throw yourself at him hard.
Also, she's just like, oh, the obviously psychotic weird guy living next door, and I get that she's supposed to be like a kind character, but I would be like, man, I don't know, get the fuck out of here.
Well, and she's also weirded out because Cloud, she doesn't know a lot of really what happened in Cloud's past.
Yeah.
Because he didn't let it be known that he was there to protect her. That one incident at Nibelheim long ago because he was just a soldier and this
Also,
and that. He just shows up saying all these big stories. She's like, none of this is right.
Yeah, I just feel weird that she goes along with his whole like soldier first class story because like she would probably know.
She actually does know, and she's like, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm like, why don't you just like grow a pair and just fucking of tits? She has big ones.
They jiggled half as much as Don Corneo's belly, though. Am I right?
But I mean, like, listen,
Less
like,
now.
She like this is one of those. This is one of those things where it's like in horror movies, if people just owned a fucking cell phone, they could get out of the situation. But in this, it's literally just like Tifa going like, man, I don't know. Like, it's just like you couldn't.
She would have
just-
checked Cloud's Facebook. Like, he was never a soldier.
Yep.
His,
but- and
what's a good facsimile? Oh, what can we make up? Like a moog.
Yeah.
Moogie. I just keep thinking Moogie. Oogie Book. Damn it. No.
Okay.
On Moogle.
Come on, Tom.
Just Moogle it.
Just Moogle it. That's good. There we go.
Yeah.
Did you Moogle him?
We'll hang on.
Moogle Plus.
Moogle Plus.
There we go. Yes, that's perfect.
Jesse shows up at your apartment in the middle of the night and offers you a fucking Ifrit materia to go help her out, which I'm like, I don't know.
Where did you get that?
And a hand job.
And yeah.
Oh, you didn't see that part?
And pizza.
I didn't do all the side quests. Sorry.
You didn't get the hand job?
So I guess maybe this is not.
Pick which kind of hand job.
So I'm wondering, within the lore of this universe, I am really wondering now, because this game now has so much more world building to it and everything, they're still not explaining summons. Are these gods of this planet, or are they like ancient nature spirits that they've learned how to harness, but these specific ones are just quite special?
They kind of explain it a little bit. So in the loading screens, when you like cycle through stuff, for Shiva, it says, legends have it that she was a deity who protected us long ago by creating a giant ice wound to heal the planet. And then also in the video presentation in Shinra Tower,
which is one of my favorite parts of the game.
which is great. They're talking about the Cetra. They're talking about the Cetra, and it says they were like able to master parts of the planet, and they show the summons fly by at that point. So there's some sort of deity. Oh, dude, there's some weird shit in this universe because there's also like the final
sci-fi.
optional boss in Crisis Core, which they have never talked about, which is like a deity there, and then you got Dirge of Cerberus, which is another thing, and diamond weapons and stuff like.
Are we really going to go into like the that?
No. But like that's just like summons that they can be drawn from the materia. They're powers of the planet and something.
How many Bahamets are there?
There's actually multiple Bahamets.
There's like 9 of them.
There's Neo, Metal.
Also in those little loading screens, it says like there are, or maybe it was in the assessment, but there's multiple versions with different elements of all the Bahamets, I guess too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Plus, there's also a Whisper Bahamut at the end battle with the three
Oh my
Corcheo and
gosh,
Viridi and Lurbu go together. Then there's the Whisper Bahamut.
Because of course they would take a form similar to those living on the planet.
Tom, how did you feel about riding on a motorcycle with Jesse?
I felt good. Yeah. I mean, I felt that was like our place. I waited my whole life for that. And after that scene ended, the rest of the game just sucked ass. Yeah. So I was out. Yeah.
How did you guys feel about
The motorcycles?
the motorcycles? Because I fucking hated those sections with a fiery
felt-
passion.
I did not love them.
They
it's,
felt
worse
very
than the
tacked
one.
on.
It's worse than the one in
Yes.
Bayonetta. If you've ever played Bayonetta,
Especially the ending. I did not like the ending one.
no.
I guess I'm on the different side here. I actually enjoyed them for the most part.
They kept the same exact controls, Brad.
No, there's also like long range attacks, and there's a few other things you can do.
Yeah,
But
Again-
I mean, they use different enemies, and you had to do different approaches. And I
Yeah.
did like fighting the Moth unit, and then Motorball being converted into a boss instead of like the end of the road. I thought that was cool. I also like that they become skippable the first time you beat them. Because
Yes.
It felt very tacked on to me. It felt very post thought.
as far as mini games go, this is, I think, better than hit the buttons at the same time, or Tifa and Aerith have to pump some water.
that sucked.
I don't know. I thought it was fine.
And
Are
you
you
did it,
talking
like,
shit
once.
about Cloud dancing? Because
No, that was
I
a good
will
one.
Fight you.
No, that was a good one.
I will personally fight you.
If they could have shortened the motorcycle scenes a little bit and just not made them so integral to the story, just have them there for old ass people like me, for the nostalgia's sake. Like, I want to be able to go left and right on a motorcycle for like 30 seconds or something. But yeah, then you introduce
Well, there's
battles,
if you made it,
another. You got a motorcycle rival coming up at you.
I think
and-
they
love
did go
him.
too far. with
Roche.
Yeah,
I love Roche. I think Roche. I
like to go fast. You like to party with me? I'll dance with you.
At this point in the game,
like just his dialogue.
party?
His dialogue is so bad.
I love that he was the thirstiest of all of the girls for Cloud.
yes.
Yeah, no one brings up Roche, but
good.
yeah,
He was ready for it.
haven't had a dance like this in a while. Can't wait to see you again, Cloud.
And you know what? I'm looking forward to more Roche.
he's going to show up again.
I'm a Mo Roche motherfucker.
I thought, like, part of me was like, well, I really hope they take this character and other than just like this really like fun speed demon guy. He is a soldier. I don't think he's first class. I think he's
No, he's third.
He's third class, but
He's the lowest tier.
I think they could.
But he's really good on a motorcycle.
Well,
Hey.
I like that they're illustrating too what the power of Mako does to people that have been bathed in it for so long. Because Cloud, he'll go straight up superhero. He can't jump over a car sometimes, but like he can definitely do some superhero shit.
Stupid shit.
It seems like they get their own kind of like, it's like Mako is, like its own like specialty. Like Cloud has like inhuman strength, but maybe not like inhuman agility.
He does some flip-de-doos though too.
He does some flip-de-doos, and he can jump pretty high, Advent Children style.
Advent Children, he just runs up a building.
But like Sephi straight up can fly.
Yeah.
Like he just
Well,
can
he's
do
also got
that.
the Genova cells too.
True.
He's he's like ascendant, I guess.
Of the S type, not the G type. The degradation is severe.
Everyone listening, I feel your pain.
Yes.
This is the first time though where that you could have two different scenes depending on whether or not you do the motorcycle well or not. And so Jesse will kiss you, which that's cool either way. But one thing that they do with these scenes that is subtle is they'll change the music. And this one is
I
super.
got a kiss. I feel good.
This one's subtle, but later on they play with it a lot more in a fun way. Which if you didn't know, we'll talk about it later. But this is all new. Jesse's mom makes the Midgar special, which is a pizza, and then you have to steal her dad's ID. She used to work for Gold Saucer as an actress. A lot of people, like, I didn't know this until the other day, but a lot of the dialogue she says with you when she's on the motorcycle is from the play from Gold Saucer from the original game.
Oh, nice.
Because she
That
used to
kinda
call
clicks.
because she was an actress there.
Right.
But essentially it gives Wedge an opportunity to eat a lot of food, and you break into her house.
All the world's a play, baby.
A stage.
It's great.
All the world's a movie or something.
You sound like Genesis quoting Loveless all the time.
Yes, I'm quite the poet.
It's great. We fucking quote Shakespeare.
Sorry, Dylan's eyes almost just rolled out of the back of his head.
No,
They're gone. He has lost them.
This is a part of the game where I'm like, oh, they're really trying for this now. I did not like necessarily the infiltration of that Shinra base. However, I liked this like deeply emotional story. You actually go to like what is the Midgar equivalent of the suburbs.
It was good to see the up top life.
Yep.
Because they didn't really do that in the original. And
so I'm like, oh, this is how the other side lives. Like, I actually understand why people below might be so angry and willing to do whatever it takes to kind of.
But also why it could be.
Right. But but then like you find out that her father was Mako poisoned, right?
because he like passed out in a dangerous area because of like some mishap. And so he's completely unconscious.
And they basically do nothing for him.
And this is a moment for Cloud that really kind of makes him a little more human and want to not just be a raging dick, because they say, like, Jesse's worried that if they don't stop the reactors soon, her father's consciousness will get lost in the live stream and not be able to come back.
Yeah.
And he has a moment where he's like, oh, okay. And Big's like, is that funny? He's like, no, I get it. Which is the first time Cloud hasn't been like
Doesn't like
a dick.
breaks.
And Wedge is like, bro, I love you, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not your bro. Oh, come on, bro. And it's Badger from Breaking Bad, if anyone didn't know. So
I
remember.
really? I have no. Oh man,
Yeah, totally.
I just imagine him talking about Star Trek with Skinny Pete.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that whole entire section because it takes you literally away from the main cast of characters, and it makes these characters feel extremely real.
Yeah.
Like even as you're
Good
walking,
character development.
even as you're walking in to retrieve the badge, you see the dad on life support.
Yeah.
And you just have to calmly walk up to it and grab it and just be like, man, this just looks like a house. Like,
I think
in
Cloud
any
says something
place.
like, thanks. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't be a douche, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
And actually, I can confidently say no, he didn't, because I did the exact same thing that you did in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Of, hey, I'm really sorry that I'm doing this. Thanks. Like, I'm trying to help. But I know for a fact there is no actual interaction with the character. There's like a moment where he might say something, but it is zero like obligation to that.
I like that Jesse had to bring Cloud along. So while they ate pizza, he could steal something in the back And
Whereas she could probably just say, I have to use the bathroom and just get it.
and also the plan to break in,
Right.
the plan to break in.
Way more.
So I need to sneak and do this other part, and I just need you to go out front and just, hi, I'm Cloud, and fight as many dudes as you can. There's no plan there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the juxtaposition of like Dylan, you mentioned the or Brad, whoever, the houses just look like straight up fucking like houses on the block.
A nice basketball court.
And a basketball court. In the fucking shadow of this huge ass like monolithic, neo-technology like building.
I feel like Midgar
Corporations.
Welcome
I
to
feel
middle
like
management, baby.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I feel like Midgar is kind of a Japanese commentary on America. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to get into politics or anything here, but there are so many like weird, like dire similarities.
Definitely there's some corporate
They are distinctly American-looking houses.
Well, and it's amazing how resonant the themes are from '97 work today. Probably a lot of these even work better today, which a lot of the grand concepts that they're going for.
Right.
Yeah.
And even the fact that Avalanche, they're a terrorist group that is trying to prevent corporations from doing bad things. The corporations are able to not only like peg it on Avalanche, but also help them so they can peg it on them harder. Mm-hmm. So the ones like also encouraging some of the terrorism that they could have stopped. It's like, oh my God, America never does this though. Like this
commentary.
This is just a story.
I believe here's another way that I can kind of connect. I think the Wutai Wars, it's the Iraq War.
Oh, I'm very excited.
The endless war.
I'm very excited that Wutai is getting
its own showing.
They're pushing it to the front, and they're also making Avalanche a bigger presence outside of Barrett. Yeah. There's like other members, which they kind of even bring in here. I think this is maybe where Yuffie's going to get some of her first stuff because they mentioned like someone else was already here, and then Avalanche shows up, who is known to probably be working with Wutai. But I have a quote from Roche. I'll probably just put the audio in here, but
you know what I want. A second dance, just the two of us. You turned the key. The engine roars with excitement. It hungers to be set free!
And I'm like, someone wrote that. And that's
again, who is the thirstiest girl?
Wow, yeah.
I mean,
you turned the key.
I mean, a motorcycle is essentially just a giant phallic symbol, so because it literally is between your legs. So, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. Roche is actually like my standout character of the entire game because I think
because of his haircut.
It's that too, the weird mullet thing, and I'm also. There was a part of me that when I saw him, I'm like, oh, this whole game is going to be filled with like mini bosses that are like soldiers with unique personalities, and I'm like, well. Here's it.
Soldier dating simulator.
Yeah, something like not
Soldier
even dating
daddy.
simulator,
Yeah,
but like developing rivals or people who are just like, I've heard a lot about Soldier First Class. I really want to try to figure out how to fuck you guys up.
Right.
Like it would make sense that Shinra has kind of like this kind of dog eat dog kind of personality, the way that
in
they
the
develop the soldiers.
in the soldier level, because everyone just wants to talk
Yeah.
shit about who's biggest there.
And also, there are no more Soldier First Class.
No, yeah.
So
They stopped it.
You know,
And they were so rare to have Soldier First Class. Whenever
they
Cloud
were
said,
legends.
whenever Cloud says it, everyone's like, we probably would have heard about you if you were first class.
They
we know who
actually-
Roche is, and he's Roche.
Well, they telegraph all that stuff so early now, and what I thought was really cool is like literally when President Shinra is like talking about him. I think there was like a line where he's like, I don't fucking remember.
I own you.
I've met all the Soldier First Class. Like, I don't fucking remember him. Like, I personally had to meet every single one of them. What's this fucking blonde kid? Like I've never seen him before. I've seen this. I think he says I've seen the sword before.
He's like, you have the eyes, but it's like something doesn't add up.
Yep.
Mako full boyfriend.
Wedge's butt gets hurt. Jesse pulls his pants down, looks at his butthole, and slaps him.
Oh my god, the butthole thing.
It's like you got grazed.
What?
Well, he gets shot in the butt, and
becoming?
they pull his pants down, and they're all just like looking deep into his butt.
Yeah, even the ladies are just like, yeah, just fucking. Yeah,
And he slaps it, and he's like, "That'll wake you up."
Fuck.
But then they do the parachute thing down from the plate to the slums, which I think is a really cool,
beautiful
It's
looking,
a beautiful concept, but like
Except for the fact that I didn't get to parachute down with Jessie.
They've been setting this whole thing up as like the Jessie date night and like your time with her, and then you go down with Wedge, which granted Wedge is my homeboy, and you wouldn't have met, and without this you wouldn't have met Bigums, Reggie, and Smalls, his cats.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Which the only thing that I'm going to say is a downside there is there are 3 cats with the exact same model, the exact same like colorations and stuff. I'm like,
The cats
whatever.
look good in this game.
But I like
Why no cat named like Tupacums or something?
yeah. Well, he's got Bigs. I understand why like he named Bigums, but
Yeah.
there's no Barradums. You know,
This is a
Barry
hot take here, but I would sacrifice all 3 of those cats to have a date night
to ride a parachute with Jessie.
with Jessie.
It seems like a misstep
I'd
there.
club baby seals.
Something fun. You go over to her place, and rather than like she inviting you in that night or whatever, but she says, "Come over tomorrow. We'll have pizza." And she says the ingredients are going to be like Marsh, Luch, Black Millie, and Red Shelley. Which I found out she was talking. Those are all like major clothes designers in the real world. So she's actually talking about like her shoes, her pants, and like a dress. She's talking about all the clothes she's going to wear that night.
Hey,
Which I was like, wow.
I am even more thirsty now.
It's like, yeah. I'll take a slice of that.
I'm just saying,
Wow.
Jessie is my bag.
Yeah. Quoting her designers. Yeah. Okay.
Especially,
Her brands?
that was
She's they considered her dialogue which I think is
because
cool.
there were 4 of them, and not all of those are on the outside.
Yeah. As soon as you get home, like Tifa the next day, she's like, I noticed you were gone a long time. It's like, God damn it, can I not just like go out on another date? Johnny plans on getting out of town, which is great.
We help with that.
But after Cloud goes through all of this, he does stop and like tell Tifa, like, I'm here to help and I'm here to listen, which he's having a little bit of character growth and wanting to help out rather than just be the
dour fucking where's the money
Robot that he is.
the merc jerk or whoever.
Yep.
Yeah, but Whispers are watching Cloud while he sleeps, and then Sephiroth's voice tells him to sleep and dream the sweetest dreams, which... Is Sephiroth the 5th guy? The 5th person trying to bang you? Kind of. He tries to take your hand later.
He's very, very into Cloud. I would say he's the most committed to Cloud out of all of the waifus.
Yeah. He has followed him through games.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something there. There's something.
Some very buried, passionate something.
Yes. Yes.
But you wake up and these Whispers are attacking 7th Heaven. And so everybody who's not been affected by the Whispers sees Barrett out front shooting at the air and like everyone like fighting stuff, which I don't know what that must be terrifying.
They can't see the Whispers.
No, they're just like out there and Barrett's like, I'll get you. And it's like,
get some.
did he get into Dylan's mushrooms? Like we don't. Is he fighting the elves? The machine elves?
Y'all don't understand until you see them.
The Whispers.
Challenge accepted.
Okay. I would suggest taking a few days off after, because I didn't.
But since Jessie gets hurt by these Whispers, Barrett has to be... And the reason she does get hurt is because they need Cloud to go along for the next mission and not Jessie. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons. But we're about to enter a slog.
But also, so the Whispers invade the entire town.
Yeah, they're coming for 7th Heaven because they need Cloud to go on the mission.
I know, but there's also this idea... Yeah. I don't know. I know they've got a shitty life down there, but if shit like that went down in my little town, and did you really expect people to go back to just life as usual after being like, there was like a lot of destruction. Like they wouldn't get storms. They rarely get storms. Does it rain in Midgar? Who the hell knows?
Right. Well, it can't rain in Midgar.
Because, or it's artificial. Like if it was, because they still grow flowers and shit. I don't know. That's just that part's weird. It's just kind of weirds me out that like they're just like, okay, well that was Tuesday, now it's Wednesday, and we're just gonna go about our lives.
The time frame for this, that the whole game takes place,
it's what, 5 days?
Because we did the math back in the day. Like the entire game of FF7 takes place over like 10 days or something if they follow their own timeline. And it was like, that sounds crazy, but this entire game takes place over like 3. Mm-hmm. If you follow it closely, but
if you actually watch Cloud sleep,
yeah, which the Whispers do, and Sephi does,
and so do I.
And so does Roche and Jesse.
They're just all standing over him.
Tifa and Aerith. And
There's your next thumbnail. This is everybody standing over.
it's just everyone.
I kind of like it when he doesn't talk.
You couldn't pay me to draw that many new characters that I've never drawn before. I had a hard enough time with the Ninja Turtles, and they essentially look the same. Yeah, no, yeah, that part was kind of cool, but I was also like, did they need that many of them? They could have just like tripped someone, or they didn't have to cause like a storm. Whoever's like these astronomical beings that work behind the scene, like these like crazy, they're Lovecraftian in a lot of ways. Like they're just like, they could have done so many more simple things in order to achieve the same result.
I just want someone to edit in fanboys complaining something's not accurate every time a whisper's on screen, because that's really what it is. It's like someone trying to force the story to be what they remember.
Well, I
Cloud goes, not Jessie. Oh, Jessie she can't go. There's just like guys yelling.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of like old
Mom, come and wipe my ass.
I read a really lovely theory online, actually, that the representation of those shadows or whatever we're calling them is just literally fan interference.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
And I was like, that's amazing. Like if at the end of the game Cloud gets to kill fan interference so that he can have a new story, I am in. 100%.
That's just 100%
game of all time. If that's like the metaphor.
That's my interpretation of the whole thing. It's like fans trying to make sure the story sticks and adheres to what they remember, and it's kind of
we
them
don't need that.
Well, I know that's like why the game is so good, but that's been my interpretation of the whispers. It's just like
no artist technically.
It's a bunch of people on message boards complaining is who the whispers are.
Yeah.
Just
that's fun.
Oh, but that's not right. Shut up.
Aerith wouldn't fall there. Bring her back up. Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Nice. Yeah.
The crinkle in her dress at the bottom doesn't seem correct.
Yeah. No.
A whisper shows up and just like makes Tifa's boobs bigger.
I mean, I am behind that.
What's happening, Cloud? I don't know, Tifa, but I like it.
I love that it was Mickey that was there.
Mickey was there the whole time.
Tifa, your chest got a little bit bigger.
My tits are getting larger.
Oh my god. She has to like tap out by like remake like chapter 3 because her fucking back can't take it
Just
anymore.
every time.
Like,
She involves them in the combat.
Right.
It's like blammo, blammo.
Right.
I hate that none of this is going to be in it. But
No, this is 100% all. This is gold. What are you talking about? This is the good stuff.
I would have loved Mickey to show up.
King
Don't
Mickey.
tempt them.
It's
Yeah.
King. It's King Mickey now.
Nomura's not directing part 2, so Mickey will not be present.
Fuck.
I'm actually surprised.
Wink.
That
I'm going to bet you $1 million that they, after the
DLC, baby.
the Mickey chapter, he was in the background the whole
Can we
time.
afford like Yogi Bear?
Yuffie, come help me quick! It's the guy from Dirge of Cerberus.
you know the one. Oh, forget it.
I'm too old for this shit.
None of this shit makes sense. Give me a gun.
Fuck. Why am I swinging a key around?
So yeah, we're moving into a really boring chapter. I think I heard you
This
say,
one's a
Brad.
real boring chapter.
This is where the game kind of slows down.
Actually, we're going to save that for the next episode. We're at the end of this first one here. This has been the Raw Dogs. We've been so happy to have you. If you want to get access to part 2 right away, you can find us on Patreon. Just look up Hair of the Dogcast on there.
All one word.
All one word.
Fuck yeah.
And just for the $3 tier, you'll get access to part 2 right away. Eventually, it will be available down the line, but there's a lot of really good content on there. You get stuff early, as well as you can join our wonderful Discord.
Make friends. Honestly, everyone on there is so cool right now. Actually, I'm
Got
going
a
to tell
good
you. I'm going to
Dogcast
tell you
community.
this.
Except
I'm
for
going to tell
me.
you this. I'm going to tell you this. I only want cool people on there. So if you're cool, you're obviously invited.
And also, if you support us on Patreon, you are there.
Absolutely.
And you're probably cool, too.
If you're listening to this, you are cool. And you were invited.
I'll decide that.
We're on Facebook and Instagram, Hair of the Dogcast. We're on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. Forgot to do this at the top of the episode, but thank you to our executive producers, Tyler Keller, Brian Ward, Rai JK, and Kip the Killer Killmeister.
You are all so sexy.
Yeah, Kip the Killer Cactar. We'll go with this one.
Ooh, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
yep, that's all I gotta say about that.
Rai the Moogie guy.
Brian Behemoth Ward.
And Tyler Ketchy Keller.
Okay, we did it. Wow, that wasn't bad, Brad.
That wasn't terrible. Thank you for your support, and thank you for checking this out. Check out all the other amazing shows in the Greenlit Podcast Network, and also check out Hair the Dogcast, which is on every other week as between the Raw Dogs.
Yeah.
They're probably a little more...
something to do,
they're
jack-off motion.
They're a little more intelligent, but they don't talk about girth as much as we do.
Stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to be talking about video game things that should not be continued to be done.
What?
How does that sound?
Are we talking about
stream of consciousness?
Are we talking about Mickey Mouse and gaming?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. that's my Jimmy Stewart. I don't like that Mickey
Stewart That's Bane.
Brother. Sorry. Next episode of the Dogcast, we will be talking about, like I said, things that video games continue to do that should not be done anymore, and why do you keep doing these? So it will be explained on the next episode.
Yes.
Yep.
We all love you so much.
We're all confirmed to be maining for Roche as far as the romance goes.
Yep. Absolutely.
You turned the key. You started the podcast.
Whoa.
We'll see you next time. We want a second dance.
God.
Oh my.
That was too sexual.
Bye.
Bye. Help me.
I put Buried in the Modern World a couple times when I did drive-throughs. You know, I did it at Krispy Kreme one time. It was hilarious.
Yep.
Can you tell me if you still have those pumpkin spice donuts? And the lady was like, she said, yeah, we do actually. And she just went in, but you can tell she went, is somebody pranking me?